Right. Hello and welcome everyone to a very special episode of Ellen Explains It All. Today, I have the pleasure of chatting with the creative team of the upcoming All Out, which is happening this summer. You've probably heard of it. We have your director slash stage manager, Liz Safran, your director slash choreographer, Kaylee Smith, your music director, Cody Wymore, and our program manager, Reva Stover. The All Out is a brand new program for AWT, so we just wanted to take this time to kind of clear the air with this crew and dig into more exactly what this is. I know there's quite a bit of mystery surrounding everything. Before we get into the questions, I did want to give a little disclaimer. You probably noticed I did not source questions from the community for this episode, which is honestly just a logistics and timing thing. This is happening very soon after the board episode, and also just sort of the nature of this very special episode. But have no fear. I definitely am always listening and definitely took the community rumblings into consideration when I developed these questions. And my glasses are fogging up. That's crazy. Wow, that's never happened to me before. Okay, great. Better. Now I can see everyone. Anyways, launch day is June 21st, and we're all excited to get started. So, unless you all have anything to add, why don't we jump into some cues? Our first question is for Kaylee. Will all of the songs in the All Out have choreography, or will some of them just be singing, or vice versa?
Yeah, so the fun thing about the All Out is that we're going to have a mix of different, singing, dancing, acting in each song. So, for example, one song might have a person singing with choreography around them, other people dancing. Some songs are going to have everyone in a piece of choreography. Some are just going to be singing, and some might just be dance with no singing. So, there's going to be a wide variety of opportunities at all different levels for everyone to sing, dance, and act.
Our next question is for Cody. Will people be in fewer numbers since they have to learn music and choreography?
What a fabulous question. The answer is maybe, I think, because there's going to be many different kinds of tracks that I think people can take through this. I don't think every single number is going to have exactly an equal amount of acting and singing and dancing. It's
Mhm.
probably a cohesive whole of songs that might be more dance heavy, more chorus heavy, more singing heavy. I think it's probably appropriate to assume that you'll do some level of all of that as you move through the show, but exactly how much material an individual participant has to learn, I think, is going to vary. That relatively should be, I think, the same distributed for everyone, but
Mhm.
one person might lean more heavily into dance, somebody else might be more singing heavy, somebody else might be more focused on speaking or a monologue or something like that.
Cody, that was such a beautifully stated answer to this very reasonable question. I just want to also flag that if you're interested in the all out and you're a little bit worried about the scope of the amount of work that has to be done, this incredible creative team is going to be here to listen to you and advocate for you and set you up for success. So if you're overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that you have to do, talk to your creative team. They're more than happy to help and accommodate you.
That part, 100% yes. Thanks, Reva.
Our next question is for Liz. Is the show going to be a cohesive story, like a musical, or skits that aren't necessarily connected? Are there skits?
That is such a great question. And I know we have done outs in the past that do have a cohesive story, such as Sing Out British Invasion, Dance Out Oz, stories like that. And we've done ones that are centered around a specific theme. This one falls a little bit more into the centered around a specific theme bucket. And part of that is because we really wanted to explore not only different facets of storytelling, but different types of stories. So stories from perspectives that are not just mine or Cody's or Kaylee's, but throughout the community. So we have a community component where we're going to be asking participants for their stories, stories from their childhood, stories from their cultures. So when that email comes out, those of you who have signed up, fill out your form because we want that information from you. We want this to feel like it's telling stories that really resonate with lots of different people and in lots of different ways. To your question about skits, there is going to be spoken components. some of that will be led by those participant stories. And that's why we are working to collect those. And that's why if you look at the AWT website, it's a little note about it instead of like a list of scenes and monologues, because we do really want participants to lean into that and work with them on some of that. We also, if you look at that list, we have a couple of songs that have scenes built in. If you want to listen to the one from Twelfth Night, it has a whole Shakespeare scene in the middle, which is really fun for our Shakespeare lovers. And some of our other ones have little vignettes and little moments. We also are really leaning into the idea that acting is not just speaking, it's not just lines, it's not just dialogue. So every single song is acting. Every single dance is acting. And we're going to spend a lot of time workshopping that and talking about the scenes that we are creating together and how are we showing that? You know, why is this happening in this song or why is this happening in this choreo to tell this story and fill this scene? And we're really excited to partner with our participants on that and go on that journey and be really open to those interpretations.
That sounds awesome. Everyone fill out your form. I know that can be an uphill battle. Our next question is for Riva. What excites you most about this new program?
Yeah, they presented this to me. This beautiful team came to me and said, "This is really cool and you should do it." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." I mean, I guess we have to. No, it was actually such an exciting thing to see the way that acting plays a part in this as an actor myself and a person who, as a director, primarily directs straight plays. It is rare form to get to do things that are so acting focused at AWT. We're always acting, as Liz beautifully mentioned, we're always acting all the time. But the real focus on character and story and building as an ensemble, I think, is what spoke to me the most about this program. And that there is space for everyone. There is a place for every single person to shine, whether you're shy, whether you're a singer, whether you're a dancer, whether you just want to come on and say a funny line and make the crowd laugh and go away. You have your moment in the sun while you also get to hone these beautiful skills around that thing that you already feel good about. And then the nature of the ensemble elements of this just make it right for community building and growth together. And that is always so exciting to me. And I think really aligns with the AWT values. So that's what was exciting to me.
If I remember the order of things, I think the next one is Kaylee. You'll notice a pattern. Will the show still be around an hour or longer?
Great question. We are aiming for it to be about 75 minutes, so a little bit longer than your typical out, but not as long as a full main stage. And the reason for that is because a lot of the songs on our list, but also to be able to tell a story, you know, from start to finish, they're a lot longer than a 2-minute song. A lot of the songs that we have are 4 to 5, 6 minutes. So we want to make sure that we're able to include as many of those different stories as possible, but also keep it in a time frame that feels manageable to us, but also the participants and the audience. Not keeping you there for 3 hours to go through all of our favorites, but keeping it to a quick 75-minute show.
I appreciate that. The trend of 3-hour shows on Broadway is really
totally agree.
difficult.
Yep.
I would just love to plus one the importance of a tight 75 that is full of awesome stuff, and then everybody gets to go home.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that as an ADHD haver. All right, Cody, would it be possible to opt out of a piece of the All Out? For example, if I wanted to just sing or just dance?
Excellent. I love the chance to address this. So would it be possible to opt out of a piece of the All Out? Yes, of course it is possible to opt out of a piece of the All Out. I might ask a question in response that is the All Out for you?
Mm.
Not all programs are for all people. And we welcome all who want to come. So I just want to think about that. Because, for example, if you just want to sing or just want to dance, totally fine. And I think you should feel welcome to apply. Because also there are moments that are still acting focused if you are primarily focused on a singing track or a dancing track. I would also love to gently challenge the notion of this question to say, might you be open to trying something that you are not currently as excited about or as initially, like your preconception of what that dance track or what that singing track might not be what we ask you to do. So the question is, are you willing to come with us to try to invent a little bit of something that isn't really perfectly defined right now? We'd love to work with you to define it. And if that sounds like fun and a little bit of like being in a black box theater in the summer and rolling around and discovering animal noises and stuff, like come on and experiment with it, have some fun. And we're going to tell some stories, get maybe a little loose with it, and keep you in a, hopefully in a place that is fun and engaging and not in a place that is super taxing and not hopefully pushing you like well outside your comfort zone. And please, I
Yeah.
invite anyone else to help out. Long rambling answer.
It was a perfect answer. We're having a fun summer. We've all been participants, so we know like very acutely what the difference is between a fun amount of work and a very stressful amount of work. So like we're in it to win it. We're in it to create a community experience. And Cody, I think you worded that in a really wonderful way, and it did not feel rambly to me.
No, it was perfect. A perfect answer. Okay, on to Liz. We've previously done sing out dance breaks. Is this similar to that? How is it different?
That is such a great question. And I will say, I saw sing out dance breaks 6 times because I did the follow spot. I know.
Yep.
So those of you who sign up for a lot of shifts, I'm one of you. I've been there. Sing out dance breaks was a super cool. I know. Am I saying
Relatable.
to you, Ellen? Maybe.
Maybe.
About your week this week. Sing out dance breaks was a really cool concept, and it was a really specific concept. It was celebrating a certain type of musical theater song, the type of song that either is close to a full cast number or is like a specific type of group that then jumps into a dance break. It's sort of like the phrase, when your emotions are too much for talking, you sing, and when your emotions are too big to sing, you dance. In this case, what we are not doing is that exact thing. What we are doing is using choreography very specifically to tell stories. So it doesn't mean that every single number is going to be like, and now we've broken into a kick line, and surprise, we're still singing and we're out of breath. And oh my gosh, it's so much cardio at Spire in the summer. What it is using choreo really intentionally. So that way the choreo feels impactful when it is used, which means that for some numbers, and Kaylee really alluded to this before as well, they might be more, there's some light movement. It might be walking or arms, or you're doing your own thing because you're playing a character. And in this moment, we're discovering these characters, and we'll give you some light instruction, but a lot of room for creative self-expression, and probably tell you where your windows are so that way everyone can be seen, because that is also important. But it's not every single song is like we're singing and we're dancing and we're out of breath. We are choosing specific things and specific moments. There will definitely be songs where and Kaylee mentioned this, so when you edit this, decide how you want to keep this, but like a couple of soloists and some other featured people dancing out what they're singing, stuff like that. Like there's room for that. And there's room too, if when you fill out your form, you're like, I don't know what I want. You can say that too. You don't need to, like, to what Cody was saying before, put yourself in a little box and define it. Like, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do a lot of things. It's not sing out dance breaks. It's a different show.
Yeah, that was when I heard it get bounced around a lot. So that is a great clarification to get. I wasn't around for sing out dance breaks, so I don't even know what that was. Our final question, and Riva, you did kind of touch on this earlier, but I would love if you could speak to it a little bit more. The registration listing on the website mentions that the ensemble is the heart of this program. Can you explain a little bit more about what that means? And I feel like this is one that anyone can jump in on if they want to talk about it.
Please, please. I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did say something about this in the 15 minutes prior to this question being asked to me. Don't remember anything. But I do know that the ensemble is really the heart of the program because it cannot exist without. Like, we move together, we build together from start to finish. Everybody that is a part of this program is building the program in conjunction with the creative team, telling their own stories. All of these stories come together, and all of these bodies on stage come together in the way that they move and the way that they emote to tell these stories. And it is impossible to do that without somebody next to you to look to emote with, to connect with. So I think that the ensemble really is the core of every single story that will be told, and is the core of the All Out as a structure entirely. There are solos and, duets and fun little small groups in something like a dance out or a sing out. But here you get to shine in the group. It's not just about the moment where you're alone on stage. It is more so about the moment where you get to be seen connecting with another person. Anybody, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I am so aligned with that, Reva. And a couple of fun facts about the All Out this season that one thing I love about the All Out too, Reva, is that it's sort of an open concept because it can be parts of everything. So while ours is storytelling, I'm sure a different creative team is going to take the concept of All Out and do something totally different. And that's really cool for this community, which is really fun. But one thing about this show, no one's ever going to be alone on stage. And you'll learn more about that when you do the show, but you're never by yourself on stage. There are, of course, solos, but you're not alone. Our vibe is the idea of you're sitting around a campfire with your friends and you're telling stories and you're jumping in together and you're telling them in tandem, and it's a group conversation. So even numbers that you're like, oh, they're not going to make that a full cast number. I don't know. Those of you who saw maybe Sing Out Act One finales might remember that there were a lot of numbers that weren't traditionally full cast numbers that Cody made full cast numbers with the music. So there's lots of options. There's lots of ways this could go. Sign up and find out.
Speaking of another show that was a lot of work for participants, oh gosh, let's put 11 numbers, of which there were usually only one in a show because they're so demanding. Let's stack those on back to back and see how that fares. I loved Sing Out Act One finales, just to say. It was awesome. But yeah, I think, again, that speaks to the idea of this not being as heavy a lift because it is so exploratory. And because of that ensemble idea, that connects me to some of these ideas that I alluded to earlier, like a black box in the summer. That was part of my childhood in community theater. That's how I found my way initially in, was through some of these programs that were for, 30 different eighth graders, and everybody is going to be on stage and we're all going to sing and learn the time step. That was a summer camp experience. That felt like some of the most important moments of forming community, which is one of the tenets of AWT, and the method of doing that by also being oh, okay, I guess I am going to learn how to shuffle off to Buffalo today. That's just, I guess, what we're doing. So cool. And I hope to invoke a lot of that energy with this program.
Look how quick this goes when we're prepared, which is very rare for me. Full
I know no other
disclosure.
way. This was so amazing.
Well, before we officially close out, in a typical episode of Ellen Explains It All, I usually close with a myth buster from Amanda. But since you all are here, is there a myth that you would like to bust about the All Out that you've heard circling? You can also say no.
Well, I was going to say my myth, I think, was answered where I've been hearing it's just sing out dance breaks. And I think we answered that pretty well, and that it's not, and it's going to be different. Would love if anyone else has heard any other myths.
So I'm going to do, this isn't quite a myth buster, but I am going to say that a lot of AWT's emails sometimes go to people's promotions folder. And we definitely had someone at the bar the other night who we were chatting with be like, oh, what are you going to do, a future show? And I was like, yeah, Kaylee and I are directing the show this summer. And they went, the what? There's a show this summer? You two are directing it? And we were like, yes. And they went, oh, maybe I'll sign up for it. So folks, if you're not getting the emails, move them to your inbox, star them, favorite them, because you do miss announcements. And if this video is the first you're hearing about this show, one, follow me on Instagram because I post about it too much, too much. I don't use close friends on my stories. They're for everyone, which maybe is the theme of the All Out. Stories are for everyone. All Out is for all. And then the second, myth I would like to bust, and I think Ellen is going to cut this out, but I must do it, is the myth that was started by Ellen Pearson that I am shady, because I am not shady, Ellen.
And
But
that was
Ellen
very
loves
shady of
to
you
call
to
me
say.
shady during rehearsal. I know, you can cut this part out.
Oh, I
Obsessed.
will.
But we had fun in Young Frankenstein. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my goodness.
Liz Saffron is very shady. You
I'm
heard
the
it here,
least shady
folks.
person you've
We're
ever
seeding the
met.
drama. We're seeding the.
Yeah.
We're not going to look like the heroes in this edit. I'm sorry.
We're like,
Yeah, you know I edit this, right? Like,
I know, and I'm okay with it. Put some caption up that's just like shady, just under my name the whole episode.
every time
We're
you speak.
dropping some deep AWT lore this summer. Like, you definitely need to subscribe to follow
Yeah.
along.
All right, cool. So I never know how to end these if you've
I
watched
don't have a
or listened
myth.
to them. Oh,
I'm sorry. I don't have a
Oh, no,
myth,
you're
but I
good.
did have something I just add, if that's okay. And you can
Yeah.
whatever you want. Okay. So because this is such a new program, literally pilot program, right? If you sign up, not only do you get to be like, oh my gosh, we're building something together, but also your surveys, the surveys
Mm,
will be so impactful. Like, I know that every participant has had the experience of being like, I sent this survey and I don't know if it made any difference. I don't know if anybody read it. They will make a difference. You will see the direct impact of whatever you write in these surveys. So please participate so we can continue to grow and advance this program and serve as many AWT peoples as possible. Please. And fill out your surveys. Fill out your surveys.
mm.
Also, I want to corroborate that as a person who has been on a creative team and has received the surveys. While we don't get your actual physical surveys, Riva does protect us from whatever has come out of your stream of consciousness and distills it down to the points that are actionable. We do actually get that feedback, and we do our best to act on it, both mid-season and end of season for future. And we pay really close attention. And that is actually something that I really adore both about AWT and the fact that they constantly strive to help us produce better experiences for participants, but also something that I really admire about Kaylee and Cody, who I have been a participant in many of their shows over the years. And I will say, I don't think I've missed a Kaylee show or a Cody show in my time at AWT. I was trying to do the math on that before. I'm like, have I? And like, what, either I've been on creative team with you or in the show. And they both are the most open to feedback and the most loving and wonderful folks to work with. So if you are watching this episode and you're like, the only thing I learned is that Liz is shady, come for Cody and Kaylee. I'll be here. But like, truly, a lovely community. We get the feedback. We love it. Really and truly. Riva's only made me cry over surveys like twice. So
All love.
good cry. Good cry.
Good cries.
Plus one to all of it. Be a hero. Fill out your surveys.
Yeah, it's the moral.
Be the hero of your survey.
And thank you, Ellen, for taking the time to chat with us and come up with
Yes.
these awesome questions.
Yes,
Thanks, Ellen.
thank you guys for hopping on. I look forward to seeing the All Out. Unfortunately I can't participate just because of scheduling, which I do have crazy FOMO about it. I know. I yeah, regret.
It's okay. Live your life.
But I look forward to seeing it. And I literally have in my notes, I never know how to end these, so I'm gonna end it very awkwardly.
Ellen explains it all.
There we go.
You need a jingle.
Wait, I'm gonna clip
You
that
do
and
need
put it
a
at the end
jingle.
of every episode.
Oh my God, I hope you do.
Should.
Wait, go back to the old ones and edit it in.
Yes.
Re-upload them to YouTube.
You're like,
Yes.
it was always this way. This was always
It's always this way.
Yeah.
I love
All
it.
right.